As we welcome in the national sports editor of the Daily Hive and its Offside Sports vertical, Rob the Hockey Guy on Twitter, or Roberto Guillermos in Espanol.
Oh.
Rob Williams, how are you?
That's a new one. I'm good, guys.
Trying to keep it fresh here, Rob. Trying to keep it fresh.
Yeah, I mean...
How you doing, Rob?
I just keep,
Rob.
You know what?
Before we dig in,
okay, all right. Yeah, I'm well. I'm okay.
Good. Before we dig in, Rob, how about Quinn Hughes? He was great last night. Came back to the game too. I feel like a Willis Reed moment almost.
Yeah, but I wonder what's ailing him though, right? Like you got to wonder, okay, is this something that's going to bother him for a little while? It looked really bad with him going off the ice. Right after Demko's injured, and you're thinking, okay, this is real trouble, and comes back and played huge minutes like he always does, and I thought he was a force. But yeah, I'm just wondering, okay, like is that something like is he going to be banged up now? Is he going to be playing with something for a little while? We saw him play through an injury last season and do it admirably for a while, but eventually, these things kind of add up, and it's going to affect your play.
Was there any part of you when he came back for that power play that thought, oh my goodness, this could be a catalyst moment in Canucks history, in Canucks lore? The captain has come back to save the day. They're going to win this game.
He hath risen.
Going on a long winning streak, and we will circle Remembrance Day 2025 and Captain Quinn's return as a moment where the Canucks franchise made a turn for the better. Was there any part of you thinking that, Rob?
I followed this team for too long to think that, Matt. I mean, I expect doom and gloom. I remember how positive I was like just 1 month ago about this team, and I thought there's going to be so many. I thought they were going to be a real surprise team this season. Not much was being expected of them going into the year, and I thought, okay, not everything will go wrong like it did last season. Well, quite a few things have gone wrong already here. Thatcher Demko now being hurt. I mean, that's a huge blow to them. I just wonder. You have to wonder at this point. Like it's been 20 months now of him not having any kind of sustained time where he's been healthy. Like, what's the longest amount of time he's been healthy in the last 20 months where he's been healthy and playing at the top of his game? Maybe this season, and it was less than a month, right? Very concerning. You have to wonder, like, is he ever going to get past this, or is this just going to follow him for the rest of his career? He's going to be turning 30 next month. It's looking pretty grim there, and I mean, we can talk about Elias Pettersson at some point as well.
We will,
it's
but
maddening, right?
Let's stay on Demko for a second, because yesterday we were having this discussion. Yesterday we asked on our Redwoods Golf Course poll question, do you have faith in Thatcher Demko? And a lot of people are like, yeah, what do you mean? Like, what's with the question? And we're like, well, it's the injury stuff and being available. And that spurred a discussion. I said it at the time as well. I completely understood what they were doing with the Kevin Lankinen extension last year. They wanted to secure the crease for this year as best possible. Thatcher was going into the final year of his deal. But I didn't understand it in conjunction with the Thatcher Demko extension on July 1st. And okay, it was only 3 years, so they may feel like, oh, he, way undervalued himself term-wise. But you didn't know that you had a healthy, stable, reliable asset there. And so I just didn't understand the rush to go and re-sign Demko so quickly when you had time this year to be able to watch him and see if he could bounce back from an injury-riddled season. Where were you at the time on the Demko extension, and how do you think it looks now?
Well, it doesn't look great now. I mean, if this is just going to keep following him around and he's never going to be able to stay healthy, then yeah, it's going to be it's awful. If this is merely a minor groin issue that he's dealing with right now, and he's going to be over it in the next few weeks and get back to being the Demko we've seen for much of this season, then great. But that's the bet they made, right? They bet that he was going to be, that his injury troubles were going to be behind him, right? And I sort of understood, you bring back Demko, you sign him now so it doesn't become an issue during the season, and you don't get to a situation where he goes, well, you know what, maybe I'd just rather go somewhere else anyways, right? And then you've got a situation where you can't get him back even though you want him back. So I understood it from that perspective. And I think what they were doing coming into the season was they were thinking about, okay, what's their ceiling, right? Their ceiling is going to be the highest with a healthy Thatcher Demko playing at a Vezina level. So you bank on that, and they hedged a little bit with Lankinen going, okay, what if he gets hurt? You need Lankinen, you need a steady, 1B guy there, rather than bring back Shelov's, given that we didn't really know what Shelov's was, right? Like if Demko gets hurt, now you're putting Shelov's in net, and all of a sudden, what if he can't play it like he couldn't play last year? Then you're in trouble. But of course, Canucks luck, Demko gets hurt, Lankinen hasn't looked very good this season, and Shelov's is performing great in Pittsburgh. So, of course, that's the way it turned out, right?
The question towards Quinn Hughes about Demko last night was received rather frigidly, as was the entirety of the Quinn Hughes postgame news conference. This is after probably his best game of the season. How did you digest what you saw there from Quinn Hughes, the captain who has been injured, has not met the media much in the last week and a half, and yet seemed to be on his last nerve?
It's been kind of an extension of most of his media availabilities this season, I think. He's been pretty short with the media, even the team reporter. He kind of keeps his answers relatively short. I do wonder if it's by design. I think if you look at how Adam Foote has carried himself as well, I think the game plan going into this season is don't give the media much to talk about, right? Just don't give them much, because they don't want the noise. They're terrified of the noise because of what's happened in the last couple of seasons. Much of it created by themselves, I might add, in terms of the noise. But I think it's probably a bit of a strategy, because Quinn used to be, go into more detail when speaking with reporters.
And yet the reaction, Rob, if you go look at the comments, if you go look at the comments below any of the video clips, every single fan is saying he doesn't want to be here anymore. He's already gone. So in trying to control the narrative by saying nothing, they've now created a new narrative inadvertently that Quinn Hughes no longer wants to be a Vancouver Canuck.
I mean, that's the trouble if you're a pro athlete and you either want to be short with the media, or maybe, and I'm not saying this is the issue with Quinn, but like if you don't like the media, if you have it, you don't like speaking to reporters, the way you project yourself to reporters is the way you're projecting yourself to the cameras and to the fans, right? And I think the athletes that get that can have a much easier time with things. But yeah, I view this as I think it's an organizational thing where they're going into this, and I think we've seen it in the past. Quinn kind of reflecting what the head coach is kind of saying, like when Rick Tocchet was speaking about the Petey and Miller situation and started getting really open with it in December of last year. Quinn at the same time was kind of doing the same thing. So I kind of wonder if it's a bit of strategy at play here.
I think you're right. They wouldn't be the first team, first organization to take the approach of treat the media like mushrooms, feed them shit, keep them in the dark. Of course, when you are shit, your record is there in bright lights for everybody to see. Rob, we're asking on the Redwoods Golf Course poll question today. We do not use the R word. I know you want to use the R word here. So I'm going to give you the opportunity in this context with all these injuries piling up. What are you rooting for with this Canucks season? A playoff push or a high draft pick?
I can't believe we're back here again.
I can't believe we're back here as well in mid-November, Rob. Like people said to me at the beginning of the season, "Oh, what do you think of the Canucks? What about the Canucks?" And I said, I just want to make sure they're competitive till Christmas, so that we can have the first half of the season where we're talking about a competitive club that isn't out of it, and then we'll turn our attentions to the second half and, of course, the Olympic tournament and all the fun stuff. Trade deadline that takes place in the new year. Well, November 12th.
I'm hoping
6 weeks till Christmas, buddy.
Look, I thought that they were a 100-point team coming into the season. That was just 1 month ago, so I'm not going to completely pull the chute on everything. No, I hope that they make a push and make the playoffs. I hope that it's not as bleak as it seems right now. And if they are picking really high, then that's disastrous. Like that means there's a lot of problems with this organization. So yeah, I'm hoping that that it's not as bad as it seems, because it seems really bad right now.
Blake seems to think that maybe there's a world where if the injuries continue to pile up and they just get decimated, that they will have nowhere to turn but a rebuild. Particularly,
still won't call it that. They still won't admit to it. They still won't lean into it.
Well,
but
I mean,
it may be an inadvertent to rebuild.
Yeah,
yes.
I mean, particularly if things are looking bleak for Quinn's future here. Do you see a calamity scenario where it gets so bad that they have no choice but to rebuild?
I guess.
Really stumping Rob today, huh?
No, I know.
Big, deep sighs before every answer. I'm sorry, Rob. Like, I guess we've learned you're not going to be a crisis communicator anytime soon.
This is Quinn Hughes post game right now. Rob Williams.
If it gets so bad, they should rebuild.
Right.
But will they? I mean, putting myself into the mind of the ownership, which is proven time and time again that they want the quick fix. So will they rebuild, or will they fire Alvin and hire a guy that says that he can turn it around in 2 years? Right? Will they go, okay, hey, you know what? This is a blip, and we think that we're more like this. Okay, we get these guys healthy again. We'll have a good free agency, and maybe we can turn it around. Don't know. But I do think, look, it hinges, for me, it hinges on their big three, right? Elias Pettersson, Quinn Hughes, Thatcher Demko. If Hughes is gone, you probably need to rebuild if Hughes is gone just on his own. But if Hughes is gone and Elias Pettersson is not the guy, like if he's not a number one center, if he doesn't play like it again, and if Thatcher Demko can't stay healthy and he's not a bona fide number one goalie because of that, then what do you have? I mean, then it's like you don't have the pillars, right? Like I think that this franchise hinges on those three guys and the rest of, and then building out the group around them. And that's why I'm so disillusioned, because it really feels like Hughes is probably going to go because the team's not very good. And Pettersson has been good away from the puck. There's some positive signs with him. He's not hurting them when he's on the ice, but he's on pace for 14 goals, for crying out loud. Like he's not shooting the puck. Again, one shot on goal again last night. And Demko's hurt again. So like those three pillars, if all three are looking like they're not going to be what fans hoped, then they better rebuild, because they're going to be stuck in the mushy middle at best if they don't.
Well, that's the worry, is that they get healthy enough in February that they win enough games to put themselves squarely in the mushy middle, as opposed to being a 500 team in late January and saying it's time to abandon ship and it's time to trade away all the UFAs to be.
You're discounting the winning streak in late March, early to mid-April, like running off like 8 of 10 or something like that.
Yeah.
We've seen that story before
to get you to 90 points and square in the mushy middle.
And 5 points out of a playoff spot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Can you see it, Rob?
Yeah, I mean, look, they'll try till the bitter end, I'm sure, to make this team a playoff team, and I think it'll be hard to convince them to rebuild. So I think that's where I'm at in terms of like, look, if you could, the worst thing for them to do would be to have a year like they did last year, right? Where you miss the playoffs just by a few points. I guess, making the playoffs by a point or two and getting bounced in the first round probably isn't much better. But, I think it's a situation where you need, I don't have confidence that they're going to rebuild. So it's like, it's a situation where like, how bad would it really have to get for them to actually say, okay, let's pull the plug, let's do it right now. I think it would have to get really, really bad, and I don't know if they're going to be that
bad. Can we end on a positive note? Can we end on something that's a little more uplifting than these previous 16 minutes? I saw you out at the Pacific Coliseum for the inaugural day of the Vancouver Golden Knights training camp. Boy, the barn looks lovely, Rob. Like that looks fresh, the old barn, the Pacific Coliseum. And I also saw you writing about tickets there. It sounds like this team is going to get an awfully warm reception when it faces off for the first time, November 21st, if I'm not mistaken, against Seattle.
Any concourse changes when you were walking the concourse? Did that look different?
So I wasn't actually there. I had spies there. So I've seen the photos. I've got the spies. I know Har was there. But the photos of the place make it look great. Matt, you're giving me a weird look.
Oh, well, I mean,
this is the problem.
We're going to have to lump you in with Canucks injury reporting. There was a time I could trust you, Williams.
Rob Williams got so big now. He just has minions.
He just assigns deputies to go on out and check things out for him.
I will say, I had a look at the ticket sales for that first game. The lower bowl is already, there were no tickets to be had in the lower bowl.
That's great. That looked great.
Tickets were flying off the shelf in the upper bowl too. It wouldn't surprise me if that game is a sellout for their first game. That sounds, that's awesome. And I think people are really embracing this team. I was prepared to hate whatever their team name and logo was going to be, because I'm a Vancouver sports fan and I'm conditioned to be like that. I actually really liked it. I think it's a good looking logo. I think the branding and the name is really cool. So it's gonna be a lot of fun to have another team to cover and another team to follow, and I think it's going to be really neat. I was at the PWHL takeover game that they had at Rogers Arena. What was that, a year or so ago? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that was awesome. Like the crowd at that game was, first of all, it was a sellout crowd. The crowd was energized, and it's a different crowd, right? Like there's families, a lot of little girls, a lot of kids at the games, and they were just like completely pumped. And
here's the thing, Rob, they're going to be good.
Yeah, well, they're supposed to be good.
It's a good hockey.
They're supposed to be good.
They're the odds-on favorites.
On paper, they're
good. Yeah. And more and more of that logo, name, and color scheme grows on me. I love the colors. I think the colors are absolutely beautiful and a unique combination. Like I don't know of any other sports team that uses those three colors in combination. I think it looks striking. Good stuff, Rob. Thanks for that. Good way to end. Positive note. It's a bit of a struggle.
Focus on the Golden Knights.
There was some heavy stuff there
Golden Knights
today.
Podcast.
Yeah, that might be a thing.